Hello everyone, my name is Walker, and welcome to the fanfiction reading of Rainbow Factory. Now, I have to point this out before I start reading, for I do not own any products, or I do not own any distribution of MLP, nor do I own any of its products, any ownership, or do I feel the right that I own any of the fanfictions going to be read. The story also belongs to its original writer, Aurora Dawn. There's long been rumors as to how exactly rainbows are made in Equestria. While a large amount of Pegasi ponies are employed at the Rainbow Department of the Weather Factory, almost all of them do the low-end work. What's known is that great streams of spectra, the individual colors of the rainbow, flow through the large grates into vast vats. From there, workers carefully and equally mix the spectra into collaged color pools that dot and run through the factory and the surrounding city. Next, the mixture is pumped to the floor below, where other employees atomize it and store it until the active weather Pegasi deploy in a field. Or infield, I mean. However, no one knows how individual spectra is made. Supplies have never been brought in, leaving not even a clue as to what goes into the rainbows. Tourists, when visiting the Rainbow Factory, are treated with extremely forebounding and plain wall, with massive solid doors banning entry to any pony at the time. While most of the facility's various signs and architecture is bubbly and welcoming, Rainbow's Factory's upper floors was protected by a harsh imagery of potential hazards and death. And all the clad wall was not made to be clean white like the rest of the city, but of a black, quite thundery fog. To become an employee of the upper Rainbow Factory means sacrificing any life outside those black walls. Workers are sworn to secrecy and forbidden from leaving, and live inside the factory itself. Those few who have ever managed to make it out in a body, not in a body bag, were twisted and disturbed, too damaged to ever rid themselves to talk about it. A lot of theories were proposed: dark magic from capturing unicorns, chemicals and environmental hazards that no sane pony would tolerate, and even thoughts of other unknown sister of Celestia destined to create spectra instead of rays the sun or moon. Nothing could be further than the truth. But a rainbow's easy to get to know with the help of a Pegasus device. Come on, Orion, we're gonna be late for our final test, Screwlook called to the friend of hers. She was older now, in the last year of flight school. She, like all the other Pegasus in school, was terribly nervous of the final test. Those who were passed were granted freedom into the world, to find their cutie marks if they haven't yet, and become working ponies. A little known, or at least a little thought about fact, was what happened to the fillies that failed their test. While uncommon, one or two from every class generally didn't have it in them to perform the rigorous acts and maneuvers. Those that failed their test were looked down upon in the worst of ways, shunned and hated. Cloudsdale had always bred a form of nationalism amongst its occupants. If you weren't the best or didn't show potential of being the greatest, you weren't allowed to be part of the glorious collective. Scootaloo moved a little to the side as Orion. A tall yet fairly skinny pony settled next to her. He fluffed his little brown wings, gave a worthy attempt at a smile as he stared around where he sat. They were sitting in a large open waiting room on look in the Colosseum, with all other graduating Pegasi. Just visible in the distance was the factory. Orion glanced at it and gulped. What's the matter, Orion? You afraid of getting a dead-end job up the snow line? Orion chuckled a bit, then closed his eyes and sighed. No, it's just, I don't know. I don't think I can do this. What if I fail? What if I don't fail? but do just bad enough to be disliked by everyone. Shouldn't that be every pony? I don't know. I don't know if I can take being deported. Where can we even go anyways? Scootaloo gave Orion a friendly punch. No one knows you, dolt. And we're not gonna fail. Everyone here's gonna do fine. I know I will at least pass. She laughed, thanks to the tips of Rainbow Dash. I'm sure to be fine. Oh yeah, sure, that reassures me. That actually just as, if not even more reassuring, that a psychopath hate every pony seems to have loved to spread. Quick panicking scaredy wings, Scooty Loop replied. There's only one thing, the only one here I think might even fail that yellow pony with the dark green mane. She's the one who's out sick for a month, you know. Oh yeah, Orion remembered as he craned his head to the other pony's direction. The one who had that bad case of hoof and wing. She looks pretty confident, though. I suppose we'll see, Scootaloo trailed, turning to look at the factory herself. Gave her chills, not of fear, but pride. I hope I get some cool active weather job. Oh god. Can you imagine everyone in everyone in every everyone in Ponyville and Philadelphia staring up at me going, there goes Scootaloo, such an amazing flyer, air from Cloudsdale. There can be no doubt. She smiled in excitement, forgetting her tension for the moment. That would be something, I'll admit. Mind you, just coming from Cloudsdale, who wouldn't be in awe? Exactly. Praise the flock. Praise the flock. Places, every pony. A massive buff pony walks up to the entrance of the Coliseum. We're going to do this by name. You educators are on the east side of the field. Do not, I repeat, do not fly too far west. If they lose sight of you for any reason, you'll be failed immediately. Take deep breaths, stretch your wings one last time. The test will consist of 3 sections: weather clearing, agility, and final recovery. Clear the clouds, fly through the hoops, and then fly to the marked elevation. Close your wings for at least 3 seconds. Any less and you'll fail. But keep in mind there's no extra points for extra seconds. Finally, recover before you hit the cloud floor. Understood? Any questions? The instructor paused and carefully glanced at every single pony in the room. Everyone's eyes were completely focused on him, and none ceased with confusion. Alright, Aurora Dawn, you're up first. Clear, fly, fall, complete. The yellow pony nodded and walked up quickly to the starting ramp with purpose. She stared at the watching judges, waited for a nod from all 3, and then took off with a powerful force. The ramp bounced up slightly from the force of the takeoff. Everybody watched as Aurora quickly reached starting altitude, and then began a direct, powerful pose. And then began a direct and purposeful attack on the positioning clouds with expert timing and intelligent angles. The sky was soon empty of any moisture. Scootaloo and Orion watched with open mouths as they watched the first testee pull fast and tight turns, expertly shooting down dead center through each and every hoop. Finally, Aurora poured herself up to the proper altitude, hovered, and closed her wings. The group of students gasped as she started plummeting down towards the clouds, and counted breathlessly. 1, 2, 3. They sighed as they watched her wings open in the correct amount of time, collectively holding that relief. Suddenly, Aurora's wings whipped upwards, and the group of students flinched in horror as they all heard a loud, hollow smack, only to be suddenly replaced by an unending piercing scream. Many like Orion shielded their eyes with their wings, as other Scootaloo could only watch, terrified, as a blur of yellow, green, and red plummeted to the ground into a cloud with a dull thump. Wasting no time, the instructor walked towards again, as the 3 judges simply pointed down and started shuffling papers around. Speaking loudly as if nothing happened, he called out again, Daisy Fields, clear, fly, fall, complete. Scootaloo and Orion stared slack-jawed as another pony gulped, and then walked onto the path and took off. They turned back to the tuft on the cloud where Aurora landed as they stared. As the wind blew in fragments, they all thrown from the collision away. They saw the shivering yellow body attempt to move, only to collapse with a cry. Faraday spots. Clear, fly, fall, complete. Aurora still struggled to walk, wailing with every step. Her legs weren't broken. She had used them fine, but it was obvious the pain from her wing joints and the loss of her potential life was crushing her. Scootaloo felt Orion shuffle uneasily, tears rolling from his eyes as a frown formed on his face. Hall they shined. Clear 5 fall complete. No one's coming to help her. Orion sees through closed teeth. Scootaloo felt extremely sad for the yellow Pegasus, but only could see herself helping her, but couldn't see herself helping her. She would be failed herself and sent away far from Cloudsdale and any familiar place on Equestria, to a place where she and any other failed students could never stain Cloudsdale's reputation. And in a terrible shame, it was a terrible shame, but Scootaloo couldn't fail herself. She couldn't fail her friends, and definitely couldn't fail Rainbow Dash. And then after the care and help she had given her, Scootaloo's whole life. Scootaloo blinked from her tears and forced herself to watch the competing students. One after another took off successfully, passed the test, and flew onward to the east gates, onto the judges' spots and stands. That's all Scootaloo focused on. Pass the test, fly to the gate, live a happy life. Orion Solstice. I don't know how to pronounce it. Solstice? Orion Solstice. I'm going to pronounce it like that. Clear, fly, fall, complete. No. What? Instructor took a step back, one leg left raised in the air. You can't just refuse your flight test. Get out of there before you piss off the judges. No. Don't even pretend like you care about my future if you don't care about hers. Orion defiant, unsure about himself. You say you want me to get a good life. And yet those who fail suffer unbearable pain. Get the fuck onto that field before I fail you myself, the instructor shouted menacingly. Fine, Orion spoke sharply, before walking onto the ramp. He stared at the judges, waiting for an individual nod, and the second they came, he took off, however, long before the starting altitude. He turned sharply and landed gently next to Aurora. She turned and looked at him, blood running down her forehead and sides, and tears streamed down her face. What are you doing? You'll fail like me. You'll be exiled. I'd rather be exiled from a place that treats ponies like this than live my life while others don't live theirs. Aurora smiled, happiness briefly replacing her sadness in her blackened, puffy eyes until she stumbled again and intense pain flashed across her body. Orion leaned in close, using his wing to brace the yellow pony against himself. He stared up at the judges, beaming hate with his vision. They stared down, unaffected, and simply pointed down before looking back towards the ramp for the next contestant. How evil! They don't even care. Wow. I wonder who these judges are. I bet they're the Wonderbolts. The Wonderbolts seem to be pretty mean in the last couple of episodes that have come out for season 4, so it wouldn't really be a surprise to me. Scootaloo stood shocked, hardly hearing her name called. She moved numbly up to the ramp, never taking her eyes off her friend as the pony sacrificed himself to help. After a brief moment, she shook her head, recovered her thoughts, and then looked at the judges. Thoughts passed through her head as she watched them all nod. Oh, Celestia, what do I do? I can't let everyone I know down, but I'll never see Orion again. I hope he knew that risk when he did that. I'm sure he's thinking the same way right now. Alright, and I think I'm gonna end that right there. I'll go and I'll do whatever I can to make this recording much better and make sure to look out for part 2 of Rainbow Factory. I think I might be about a quarter way through. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah. If you guys like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be posting more as much as possible. If you like this, please leave your comments saying you want more, and if you wouldn't mind, leave me suggestions on what you would like me to read. I'm always open to new comments and brand new ideas. I'll see you guys on part 2 of Rainbow Factory.